On this episode of Crossing the Streams, I would love to welcome Medusa, streamer, VTuber, language learner. I'm sure there's more titles we'll learn about, but welcome, Medusa. Thanks for joining me today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
You're very welcome. Tell me about your stream. Tell me, like, if someone brand new stumbled upon your channel, how would you describe what you do with your content?
Not only with language learning, like you mentioned, I do study German and Japanese on Duolingo, so I stream that quite a bit. I also build Lego, which is kind of what got me into streaming not too long ago, a little over a year ago. Yeah, typically I just mentioned the brick building community. I do tend to build a lot of Harry Potter Lego sets. However, I have branched out to others recently. And then I picked up language learning earlier in the spring for streaming. I've done it outside of streaming before, but it's really helped me stick with a schedule. And sometimes I play some games, but that's pretty rare. I
Sometimes
think
it can.
everyone plays some games sometimes.
Out of curiosity, what games do you play?
In the past on stream, I've played like Animal Crossing, Slime Ranchers, Harry Potter games, Lego games, like pretty chill, cozy kinda. I did play Overwatch recently on
Mm-hmm.
stream, which I have never done. People like to watch it, but I don't get much engagement. Like, it's hard to read and interact with chat while you're playing a game like that.
A little bit of everything. It sounds like I discovered you through Lego. That's actually how I first started seeing your streams, and then I realized you did things like language learning, Duolingo. For those that are curious, what languages do you learn on stream while you're doing it?
So I studied German, and Japanese. So I usually do my language learning in the mornings, which is I'm in Eastern time zone, and then Legos in the evenings. Sometimes I stream twice in one day. But yeah, I've studied Japanese for I studied 2 years at university, and then about a year after that, which was earlier this year, I was like, "I'm not remembering my Japanese words, and I really need to not, like, let that happen."
Right.
And streaming kinda helped me stick to doing that every day. So I do it every day, even outside of stream. I'm always on Duolingo.
How much time do you normally spend per stream on language?
Um, Usually about 2 hours, and that's 2 to 3 times a week. But yeah, sometimes it gets a little distracting, you're I like talking to chat, we'll talk about
Mhm.
things, and then I'll go back into trying to speak a language. But I've met some very interesting people, with the language streams, and a lot of people are very willing to come in and try to, help build those skills and talk to me, and maybe it's their native language. So
Mhm.
I'm, like, trying to I welcome German and Japanese speakers in my chat.
Yeah,
Sometimes I have to translate it, of course,
yeah.
but it's interesting.
In chat, there's a question from ArcFox. What is your favorite phrase in German and Japanese?
In Japanese, it's not really a phrase, but I love saying the word, "not warm."
Oh, really?
"Atatakanai." "Atatakanai desu." I don't know, it's just fun to say.
Is that because, like, just because it's fun to say,
Atatakanai
or
Yeah.
it's because of like
Um,
the word flow and the way it comes out?
yeah, and I also like itadakimasu, so that means, like, when you say that when you're about to eat, it's kinda like, "Bless this food," or like, "Thank you for the food," or like, "Let's eat, itadakimasu." I don't know if I have a favorite German, phrase. German is a bit new for me. I
Yeah.
have taken German in school, I don't remember anything. And, one of my friends/viewers slash viewers is from Germany, and he encouraged me to learn German, so I added it to the list.
It's really cool to do that. Not many people actually do a lot of language learning on stream. So I definitely, I wanted to kind of pick your brain on that. I'm sure we'll come back to that more with everything that with all the language learning. I'm sure it creates a different like group of people, right? Since you have all these other language speakers
Mhm.
in chat. How is it like trying to manage multiple language speakers in a single chat?
I mean, for me, it's not too difficult, just because it's not like there's a ton of people at once. It might be like 1 or 2 people. However, there are some Twitch add-ons I might look into in the future where
Yeah.
they will automatically translate whatever language is in chat to English or, whatever you wanna set it to, or
Hmm.
vice versa. Because I found going to other language speakers, like Japanese streamers, a lot of them already use, like, a translator bot, and it will, like if I type in English to them, it will say it out loud in Japanese so they understand what I'm saying. So some of them may be learning English and they have that feature on or, whatever, but it's not too difficult, and I haven't had any, like, issues from it as far as, like, negative interactions. I'm
Hmm.
sure maybe if it was a big stream and I had, like, tons of viewers, it could be an issue. I could see where that could happen, like, if you don't know what they're saying, but maybe someone in chat does and it wasn't a very positive thing to say or something, you know what I mean? It might insult somebody and you don't know it, and you're
Right.
not doing anything about it.
There's some nuance there because
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
language barrier. Yeah, that's something I think personally I'd always be a little concerned about because I don't want to use language in the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I always encourage people, like, if I'm saying something wrong or, like, tip-wise, or if they see someone in chat that they're speaking their native language, like, tell me. It's not gonna hurt my feelings or
Yeah.
anything.
I'd love to get kind of your history. For me, discovering you was through a Lego stream. What's your history with Lego? What got you into it to begin with?
I'm actually fairly new to Lego compared to most people in the brick building community here on
Hmm.
Twitch. My first Lego set that I ever built was last year in July, August-ish, and it was a Harry Potter set.
Hmm.
It was one of the Hogwarts Moments, the little book, like, play sets,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
I got the potions Slytherin set, and I'm like, "Yeah, this will look good with my Harry Potter stuff." Like, it was just a one-off thing I got randomly. After I put it together, I wanted all of them, and then it just kept growing. I actually was only streaming it for a friend to watch me build, and I discovered other people that build Lego on Twitch within, like, the same month, and I was just amazed, like, this was a thing.
I really like that from the jump that you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna stream this for my friend. It's gonna be cool. I'm just gonna build some
Mhm.
Lego. Like I got this cool Harry Potter set, and then here we are. What was that like getting started with trying to stream Lego? Something you probably never done before, or haven't even real like you said, you didn't know that was really a thing. What was that like
Mhm.
for you, kind of trying to stream it for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I've been familiar with Twitch for probably since Twitch started. I've dabbled in streaming, like, games in the past, but nothing, like, serious. It was just kind of for whatever fun. And then having to figure out how to set up different cameras for people to see what I'm actually doing was
Hmm.
interesting. But yeah, streaming it for my friends, I was like, "Let's see if there's anybody else on here." And it was kinda hard because I didn't know the brick building tag existed at
Hmm.
all. So I was just in, like, makers and crafting, like, just looking around, and I think I actually found Lettuce Rain, if you're familiar with her. I
Yep.
found her channel and went over there and then just discovered, like, Local and Zach and everybody and you probably
Mhm.
from there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was very interesting, and it wasn't something I was planning on doing with my time, but more Lego, I was purchasing more Lego and, I just kept streaming.
So it just became a thing on its own. You didn't even consciously like decide, "Oh,
Yeah,
I'm gonna do this." You just ended up buying more Lego over time.
yeah, it was like I
Yeah.
bought the one little set, I bought all the other Hogwarts moments, I did those on stream, and then I got, like, I think the Hogsmeade. set, which was probably like my first, medium-sized set, and I just kept getting more Lego. Like,
Yeah.
the amount of Lego I have now within a year's time is probably ridiculous.
Yeah, I did a similar thing. Actually, I want to say it was July 2021 for me getting into it as well. And so about a year into it, I was like, I have so much Lego now. Like, how did this happen? What
So
am I
wait, you
doing?
first got into Lego last year too?
Hmm.
Oh, so we're on a similar
It was,
timeline with
yeah,
that.
yeah. The timeline was very, very similar. I just was looking for something interesting to do. I mean, I was a Lego
Mhm.
fan as a kid, loved Lego, and then I think like many people who grew up with it, you just kind of like most things, you kind of
You go
do
back.
other stuff, and then you end up coming back to it. And
Yeah.
so that was
Yeah, I
me.
never had Lego as a kid, like, it's just not something. I don't think it's necessarily because I didn't want it, it was just, like, it just
Yeah,
wasn't in my life.
that's very cool. Yeah, similar timeline in terms of like getting into it. At what point did you realize like this is now a thing? Like, did it ever occur to you? Do you have a moment where you're like, oh wow, like this is now?
So, finding the brick building community was a little, like, overwhelming when I'm like, "Yeah, I stream Lego," like, with all these big stream like, big people in our community here, and then all of a sudden I'm affiliate, and I'm like, "Wait, is this a thing?" I was building when I had the sets. I did try to squeeze in like just some games to like Harry. It was all Harry Potter at first. Like everything I had was Harry Potter. But yeah, once I realized like everyone in the community is so supportive, everyone's are always like building each other up
Mhm.
within brick building, and I just kept doing it. Like, and eventually, which I never have had like a face cam at all. And then I got into the VTubing like not long after I started streaming. I don't know the exact month, but it was definitely late last year. I It wasn't this model that I am today.
Mhm.
I've evolved, but that's a
So
whole other like
that's a whole other thing.
skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let's dive into the whole VTubing thing. What got you into it? What got you interested in starting as a VTuber?
Well, I've always thought VTubers were very, interesting. I never really watched them, which, to be honest, before last year, I didn't really watch streamers live that often. Every
Mhm.
now and then I did, but there's no one I really, like, followed and, like, tried to watch the streams all the time. I have to use the Adobe suite a lot, and I was just looking at programs I had, I'm like, "Well, maybe I should use some of these, I pay for them."
Yeah.
And I looked at, Adobe, I think it's character animate or animate character or
Hmm.
something. And I was just, like, kinda browsing it, kinda tinkering. I'm like, "Oh, I could probably use this with my stream since I don't use a face cam." Because the only camera I had at the time was looking at my Lego builds. So I looked into that. I kinda edited a free model that they offered, kinda display, like, my style and everything. I used that for a long time. I probably used that for, like, 6 months or so, and then I was very interested in that was a 2D model, so she couldn't move that much like I can now.
Yeah.
So I was very interested in 3D modeling, and I spent a lot of time researching different programs, how I can create my own model, which I found is very time consuming if you wanna
Yeah.
create your own model. And,
Yeah.
with working and then on top of, already streaming, I'm like, "There's no way I have time to figure this out." I did kinda dabble in some programs and made, like, a temporary 3D model just to kinda see how I can, like, learn the programs I have to use and all that. And then
Hmm.
eventually I just found an artist and commissioned them to create Medusa. And here I am.
That's that's awesome. So it took a lot of exploration and research
Mhm.
and trying to just kind of figure out what works for you. Are there any kind of things that, if you had to do that part over that you would probably do differently, or that kind of knowledge that you now have, how would you have dealt it with starting up like that, versus like would you change anything, I guess?
I wouldn't say there's anything I would change per se. I mean, I would really love to be able to make my own model. I just
Hmm.
don't have the time. If you have the time to do it, by all means. I think it's a very good skill set to have, and I mean, I guess you could make money off of that too. But yeah, figuring out programs, there's so many different programs out there, and a lot of people think, if you wanna be a VTuber, you have to spend all this money, like, with all these, like, fancy programs and everything, but there are some very simple ones. I will
Hmm.
say some of them do require a lot of, like, CPU power usage, which I learned. Uh,
Really?
I had to make a few updates, at least when I wanted to play video games while using my model. So you do need a lot of computing power, more than likely, but there are so many free resources out there that you don't really have to spend that much money on. And I think just finding a good artist that will work with you. There's a lot of like beginning artists that will work with you or on a budget if you need to be on a budget. And some of them will even help you set everything up for you, which is nice.
You and I kind of talked very briefly before we started just on the subject of VTubing and getting started, and you were saying that like it's easier to get started, or more accessible now.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are your in what way and how so?
Well, I think it's more accessible. I mean, YouTube allows a lot of things to be accessible. There's so
Mhm.
many like how-tos and people will just go step by step on certain programs. I think it's just taking the time to actually research is
Mhm.
what I've learned. If you really want to learn how to do something, you're just gonna have to put the time into it. But YouTube can be your best friend.
Yeah.
I think just I try to network with other VTubers and make friends that way. And I've learned a lot of things from them too.
Mhm.
Like some of the programs I use, I didn't know existed. I've found them through other people. Like I'll just go in and if they're comfortable with it, obviously I don't bombard them with questions about their
Right.
VTuber. Some
Yeah.
people are open to it, some people aren't, of course. But just communicating with other VTubers, just trying to implement what they have to offer to share with you is very helpful.
Do you have any particular VTubers in the community that you really look up to or have really influenced your approach to VTubing in general?
Well, there are some big, like, VTubers, of course, that I love, like, Gura. Most of them are on, YouTube, like, Gura, she's from Live, which is a whole company
Mhm.
for just random VTubers. Some of you may know Live. I don't know. But, here on Twitch, I love, like, Iron Mouse, she's really big, but some smaller ones, I'd say one of them mainly is the artist that made my model. It's
Mhm.
Kiwi-sama. She streams Overwatch. I always look up to her and how she interacts with her chat. Saiba, Epsilon, is a really cool VTuber, and she does all of her own work, which is very impressive with what she
Yeah.
does. But as far as within the brick building community, I don't know if any VTubers.
Right. I think you, as far as I'm aware of, are the only
Mhm.
one. Come to think of it, I was trying to figure that out because I think I think initially in my head I was like, oh well, I want to talk to Medusa because you do the language thing, you have the VTubing thing, all cool stuff, and then I got to thinking about it, it's like I don't think there are any other VTubers at least
Yeah.
that do Lego as well. So it's a very interesting like cross section of like what you have
Mhm.
going on. And I racked my brain and I remember thinking like surely
There's somebody.
there's got to be a couple more. But yeah, you're breaking ground in terms of like being like within the brick building community and being a VTuber. So that's very cool. It's something like to consider,
No,
like
yeah, I have come across VTubers, I will say, that have built Lego on their stream,
right.
but it's like a one-off, thing they do randomly, like, every now and then, maybe. Same with cooking. I've seen some VTubers do some, like, cooking streams, which is interesting.
Yeah, I can't imagine how you would do that. Now I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go looking at some point. Which I guess that now makes me feel like VTubers are probably primarily, I imagine, just chatting and gaming. Like that's
Yeah,
pretty
most
much
of
it.
them, yeah.
As someone who's been in the VTubing community for a little while, what are like what do you enjoy about it? What kind of things is someone like myself who's not familiar with the VTubing community? What things about it do you really enjoy the most?
I love tinkering with software and programs. I think that's really fun, just messing with that. And then, of course, I get to set up different scenes. Like today, I set up my bedroom to be here.
I love it.
So that like, I always love doing that kinda stuff. But other than that, I think just having interacting with chat, I feel like is a little different than I don't know, I feel more relaxed. I'm a very shy person,
Hmm.
and this makes me a little at ease,
Hmm.
maybe? Maybe it
Yeah.
allows me to be, more open with chat. But yeah, I just think it's a neat way to interact with people, and, I mentioned at first I didn't have a face cam or anything when I started streaming, but I felt like it lacked some kinda connection to chat and, like, interacting with them, like,
Hmm.
they just couldn't see me at all, or, like, they're just talking to a screen, like, they're talking to my Lego, basically.
Yeah.
So, I think this adds some more, connection with viewers than just not having I mean, having not having a camera is totally fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I think this adds a little more.
VTubing is such a unique thing in that it allows you to do so much more, right? Like
Mhm.
if you like we're talking about your viewers throwing gummies at you, right? Like
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of those types of interactions in your channel?
Yeah. Yeah, so chat loves to throw gummies at me. I like to add different items for them to, like, interact with me, like, they can put a box over my head or a hat or, anytime I get bits, it can do damage to me, and after my health is gone, I just kinda turn limp and, like, I don't know, I just fall to the ground, I'm KO'd pretty much.
Yeah.
So they have fun. "Oh, yeah, see, like this."
Oh, that's cool. Man, that does bring such a level of interactivity that you couldn't get without it, right?
Yeah.
We kind of skipped over it, but I'd love to just kind of get your thoughts as you started streaming. You were talking about how you were starting to build Lego to show to friends, and then you kind of found yourself doing more streaming. What was that like getting started as just a streamer trying to figure it
Mhm.
all out? How was that for you?
Well, like I said, I had streamed before in the past, but not like like a one-off things. So I was kind of already familiar with, like OBS, like I've used it before in the past. So that wasn't much of a learning curve. But for me, it was okay, if I'm actually gonna do this, when am I gonna do it? Like, I don't want it to be just random, otherwise it's just gonna drop off and, nothing's gonna progress. It's just gonna be that one time? But I think it's actually helped me even, like, outside of my streaming life is just having that routine and sticking with it. Like, it's helped me form routines with other areas in my life. And some days you don't wanna do anything, but sometimes you have to. So I try my best to stick with a schedule. Sometimes the schedule will have to adjust, or I might have to, I might be pretty consistent with this schedule, but maybe in a couple months I have to change it and then stick to that. Like, it just might change, but it's still a schedule for X amount of time. So I guess that was probably my biggest challenge is just, like, sticking with a schedule.
Being
If I really wanna
consistent and all
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is definitely more of a hobby
Yeah.
because, like I said, I like tinkering with programs and all that, but if I don't have a schedule to do it, I'll never do it probably, so
I find that it occurs a lot actually with a lot of streamers. A lot of us have found the concept of scheduling has really become clearer for us. And when I say that, I mean like we had Super Computer on last week, and he was
Mhm.
talking about how he was like, "Oh, I'm not going to have a schedule because I would love to just have the flexibility. And if I feel like, having a stream, because I'm not on a schedule, it's not a big deal. Like just stream." And after doing that for a lot of time, he realized that it kind of had an adverse effect in that because
Mhm.
if he didn't plan on streaming, he'll realize that he's like, I'm just not going to stream if I didn't really
Yeah.
have a plan to. And so, yeah, it's an interesting relationship I think we all have. Like the thought of streaming and the thought of scheduling kind of collide often if you do this long enough on whether or not
Yeah.
you should. And generally the answer is yes, you should, because
Yes.
then, yeah, because then you
Even
get,
if it's just even if it's just once a week, like, you have
yeah,
that time, you know you're gonna do it, and then you fall through with it, like and honestly, that's why I started streaming, Duolingo, is because I wanted that routine of, practicing my language studies, and I'm like, "You know what? If I stream it, I know I'll do it, so I'm just gonna start doing it." And
yeah.
so I put it on my schedule.
You're the more we talk about, you're convincing me more now that I need to like one, learn another language, and two, just incorporate that into my stream schedule to force me to do it.
Just do it.
That's very cool. Have you found people picking up other languages that attend your streams? Do you feel like someone
Yeah.
who wasn't doing that before has started to do that?
Most usually it's people that have, you know, studied another language in the past and they have stopped for, however long, and then they're like, "Maybe I should do that again." Yeah, I know plenty of people that have come in and said, I'm gonna study this language now because of you, because you're making me wanna do it."
That's
It may
really
not be what I'm studying, it may be Spanish or, whatever
mhm,
language they practice, but yeah, that's
mhm.
happened plenty of times.
Yeah, there's someone in chat who just said, "I actually picked up Japanese because of Medusa." So there
Yeah.
you go. Since you're learning Japanese and German, have you thought about picking up a third language at all, or is there thoughts about like maybe I want to kind of switch it up and try something different?
I think languages are really cool. I think it would be great to know multiple languages. I mean, I'm not really fluent with any other language. It would be I feel like for me, even though I'm studying, these languages, I'm not really gonna grasp it fully unless I'm, like, forced to be in that environment,
Hmm.
and I have to, like, speak it with other people all the time. I guess that's my struggle now is not really having someone to, talk Japanese with on a
Hmm.
regular basis or something.
Right.
Or just being in that, environment, like, in their country and all that. Nonetheless, it's still fun to learn and challenge myself to try to communicate with other people.
Yeah.
I think Spanish would probably be more beneficial for me, like, considering my location,
Hmm.
but I don't know any Spanish, so
Yeah.
I know a few words, but,
Right.
So if I decided to do another language, maybe it would be Spanish. I mean, I'm interested in all languages, so
So as a language learner, a VTuber, a Lego, an AFOL fan, a Harry Potter fan, as this whole combination of interests and approaches to streaming, is there something that you're hoping to bring into this whole, I guess, just unique combination of things that are going on, or other types of content that you'd like to work into your channel?
I try to focus on my interest because if I'm not interested in it, I'm probably not gonna wanna do it. So and
Right.
obviously people aren't gonna watch me they don't wanna see me do something I don't wanna do, or if I'm not, like, having if I have no interest or passion in it, like, why would you wanna watch me do that? I love video games, I don't get a chance to play them as much, however, with streaming them, I feel like I lose that connection with, like, interacting with chat.
Mhm.
because sometimes I'll get focused on the game or like I mentioned earlier with you playing Overwatch on stream, you're kind of focused on that game in the moment and
Mhm.
you lose like you can't interact with chat as much. So I don't like I said, every now and then I will play some games, but I like interacting with people. And actually, I think streaming has helped me open up a bit more to that because I mentioned I'm very shy. So it's kind of helped me in other areas in my life and trying to communicate better with people.
A really interesting thing about streaming in that it helps a lot of us, I think, kind of deal with social things,
Mm,
right? Or being more, I guess, socially active, right? I personally like, for me that's not been as much of a challenge as it is for a lot of streamers. I'm generally more of an extrovert, but
yeah.
I think as I've gotten older, ironically, I've become less so, and I found over uh, that to be true over recent years. But streaming has helped me kind of come back out of my own shell. How have you found streaming to do that for you? How has it changed the way you interact with people?
I think it's just kind of given me more of like a confidence boost. And like I mentioned with the VTubing, it kind of allows me to at least try to be more like myself and not be like this shy person. So I
Mhm.
think just after doing it for so long, it's kind of leaking into other areas of my life where I get that confidence.
Mm.
Like, yeah, this is fine. I can speak to this person how would. I don't need to hold back my personality or, something. It's fine. Like I'm just overthinking. The comfort of being able to speak to someone and not stress about it.
Very cool.
But yeah, I mean, I know in the beginning, like just streaming in general was very even sometimes today is like, I'm about to go live, I'm nervous. I don't know, you know.
Yeah, I
But
don't know
once I
about
get
this.
going and there's people there talking to me and I'm talking to them or I'm doing what I'm doing, like and I'm having a good time.
There are days where we don't really feel like streaming or going live. On those days for you, what helps keep you motivated to do so?
Well, usually it goes back to that schedule thing.
Mhm.
It's about, well, I've committed this time. I mean, unless I'm sick or something, of course, but, like, if I'm having a bad day and I'm like, "I really just don't wanna do this right now," like, I'd rather just sleep or something else, you know?
Yeah.
Because my times do vary throughout the day with the streaming stuff. I said I was gonna be there, so I guess I need to do it. But
Yeah.
once I get going and I start doing whatever, activity I'm doing, like, I kinda all those thoughts kinda just go away, and it's kinda like working out, you don't wanna do it sometimes, but after you do it and you're, like, doing it, it's good.
You get it. You do it enough days out of the
Mhm.
week, it just becomes almost reflexive, or you
Yeah, it's just
just
part of everything in your life. Yeah.
it always comes back to scheduling, I think. It comes back
Mhm.
to setting that commitment and deciding for yourself, okay, I'm gonna do this on this day or these days at this time. So you've been part of, the Lego community for a while. You've seen probably a lot of the same folks I have. What are your thoughts on the community in general? Kind of like at this point, like the state of the Lego community on Twitch. Any thoughts or opinions on where it's at or how it's grown or where it's headed?
I mean, I know I haven't been in it that long, but I feel like maybe the past 6 months or I don't know, give or take, I feel like it's grown a lot. Which isn't a bad thing, and like I've mentioned already, everyone in this community is so supportive, and they like to build people up. I haven't had I'm not gonna say I've never had a negative interaction. I can't recall any. There may
Right.
who knows? But, like, everything has been so positive. I wouldn't be here today without everyone in this community, 'cause
Hmm.
that's what started my streaming. But yeah, like, local that was probably, like, the first big person I found here in the community that, he shows his support everywhere he can, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
And that's kinda what got me into just keep streaming. I'm like, there's so many cool people here. I got to meet everybody. And then, I met you. I've met like Phoenix and Terrific Asherific. There's so many people. I can't.
Yeah,
Disco Doug.
there's a
Yeah, there's
lot.
so many
There's
cool people.
a
Yeah,
lot
there's
of
so
us.
many cool people. And I think just the positivity in the community is really awesome. They just keep encouraging people to do what they enjoy doing. And even if it's branching out to other communities like I have with language learning and like even like the crafting community, like usually they'll be supportive of that too and they might meet other people that way as well.
The community itself is incredible. They're mega supportive, regardless of what's going on. Whether it's a charity event or
Mhm.
someone needs a break, they step away for a while, or anything. The community, like special events, right? Birthdays,
Yeah,
stream
special events.
anniversaries.
Mhm.
Everyone just has been super supportive and willing to help in whatever way or just show support. It's very cool. In terms of like VTubers, do you have any people that you watch on the VTubing side that you think that would enjoy Lego but haven't thought about it?
Yeah, I mean, I have some people, that I've met on Twitch through the language learning, community, like, I'll raid into their channel,
Yeah.
find somebody new, and I'll go in there, every now and then, and they realize I build Lego too, and they're like, "Wait, you build a Lego? That's a thing on Twitch?" See what happens, and then, like, they'll come check it out and then find all these other Lego builders on Twitch here. So
Yeah.
that's really cool. Like, a lot of people still don't know that people build Lego on Twitch. Tell people about that in real life, they're like, "People watch you build Lego?" I'm like, Yeah, kinda."
It's a thing, yeah.
It's
It's
a thing.
it's always hard to explain, but yeah.
Yeah.
I've I've had that same conversation, and I think even once I've responded with, "You watch people play video games on
Yeah.
Twitch." Like,
Yeah.
people do all kinds of things on Twitch now, so, like, I don't think
Yeah.
Lego is by far the weirdest or unapproachable thing on Twitch, so
Yeah, usually when I tell people, which I honestly don't tell many people in my personal life that I'm on Twitch, but
right.
usually it's like, "Oh, what games do you play?" That's the
Mhm.
first question that comes out, and I'm like,
Yep.
"Well, I actually don't do that. I build Lego, study languages." They're like, "What? I thought that was just a gaming website."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I had that conversation with a Comcast person uh last week because I had to call them about
Yeah.
I was checking on my service with them, and they're like, "Oh, what do you do with your upload?" Because I was asking about my upload, and
Mhm.
I'm like, "Oh, I stream." They're like, "Oh, you're a streamer." I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like to Twitch. I'm like, "Yeah." And the guy's like, "Oh, sweet. What games do you play?" I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, "I kind of play games, but not really." He's like, "Well, what?" He kind of was
What
like,
do you
well,
do on
"What do you?"
Twitch? Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "I build Lego." He's like, "No way, people do that." I was like, "Yeah, people do that." I was like, "Here we go," and yeah, I kind of changed the subject really quickly after that because it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know how to tell you, but yeah, it's definitely a thing. I guess what I'd ask you is how, if you have any ideas, how would you see, the brick building community grow? What would you suggest the community as a whole do to kind of help grow that viewership?
I mean, there's a lot of people already trying to help the community grow, by getting a category on Twitch is a big
Hmm.
thing. Like Brick and Nick, Sets to Build. We're trying to get Twitch to add a category for us, which I think is bizarre considering, at TwitchCon, they have a whole like segment piece for Lego people there from what I see. I've never been to TwitchCon, but from
Yeah.
what I see from like photos and stuff, I mean, I think it's cool that we finally got a tag, well, which now it doesn't matter, I guess, because you can add whatever tags you want.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I think we're still trying to get out there so we don't have to figure out what category we need to be in, because 'cause we're kinda scattered, just chatting or makers and craft. I've seen some people actually go to a category that's apparently a game. I
Oh
think it's called
yeah.
brick building game or, like, they don't know that it's a game or something,
Yeah, I've
but
seen
people
that too.
find that.
Yeah, I've seen that too. There is a category called brick building, and it's some
Yeah,
form of
some
game.
kinda game, yeah, I don't know what it is.
Cause you said it yourself. Like there was a booth at TwitchCon. You know, we have a team. We have all these things going on, and it
And
is.
Brick and Nick, he's on Lego Masters, like, that's huge.
I would say I would credit I think a lot of your effort and a lot of your work as a language learner, a VTuber, just having your channel do these different things and have these different
Mhm.
aspects to it. I think that is what will help the
Oh,
brick
yeah.
building community because people will
Mhm.
find us through these other things that we do, right? So if you're learning Duolingo one day or using Duolingo one day to learn some Japanese on stream, I'm sure little by little you've
Right.
probably had some people interested in learning language kind of like peek over and see what the Lego
Mhm.
site's about. So I think it's really cool that you're doing that and you're sticking, like you said earlier, about sticking to the things that you're passionate about and interested in. And language is one of those things. So I think it's very cool that you're into that because I think by extension that grows the community in different ways.
Yeah, I think if you want to obviously, if you only wanna build Lego on Twitch, that's totally fine, like, there's
Right.
nothing wrong with that, but if you do wanna branch out or maybe get more people to find out about Lego, yeah, I totally agree with you. Is trying to branch out into these other Twitch communities. Most of them don't know we're here, and then they find out and they're like, "What? Oh my god." And then they
Yeah.
come check you out when you do Lego, they'll find other people that, build Lego. So and I think it's important too, which we've already kinda touched on, is finding something you're interested in.
Hmm.
Like, you don't wanna stream like, I've tried doing the game thing, like, I love games, but I don't like streaming them that
Yeah.
much, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just finding what you like to do, and maybe that'll take a few things, like, I tried the gaming thing at first, I've done some crafts on stream, which I like crafting, but I don't like doing it every week? So that kinda I might do that every now and then still, but not a weekly basis. But something you like doing, um, and I guess it kinda needs to be enjoyable for the viewer too in some
Right.
aspect.
Right.
There's all kinds of stuff that people do here on Twitch. I mean, I'm trying to think of some examples.
I mean, in the crafting, makers and
Oh, yeah,
crafting
crafting is
alone.
yeah. I found everyone in that community, like, so nice. Just like, in brick building community, they're so nice and welcoming, and I don't know. I mean, like I mentioned, I like games, but I found a lot of the gaming community on Twitch a little toxic.
I mean, it's funny
Not
that
every not all
it's
of them,
funny that
but
you brought that up because I totally got into a conversation with Scotty Rotten about this, and he kind of generalized it to the point where he's like, the whole gaming community is toxic, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
not
like let's
everyone.
let's not overgeneralize here. I think it depends. Certainly, it,
Mhm.
it depends. I think I found that for me, it's the highly competitive games that may
Yeah.
kind of lend itself to that. But like, as someone who has streamed a lot of chill, cozy games, right? Like Stardew and
Yep.
things like that. Those communities are some of the most positive ones I've ever been in on
Mhm.
Twitch. And I think I definitely actually I come to think of it, I see Destiny 2 excluded because that's a whole thing in our community. But I would
Yeah.
say a lot of folks who do Lego also do a lot of cozy games. For some reason, I found
Mhm.
that to be very true. I think it's interesting to have that parallel of like the people who generally like the Lego streams, the streams of like, hey, I'm gonna just play Stardew, or I'm gonna play
Yeah.
Minecraft or Unpacking, which are all like
Mhm.
can generally be like super cozy,
Chill.
chill. Like I'm just here to build and craft things in a game, right? And so
Yeah.
there's just this interesting connection that I've observed between like those different types of, because yeah, you do have those ultra competitive sweaty games, right? But then you also have, hey, I'm just gonna go over here and build a cool fort in Minecraft. And I'm gonna listen
Yeah.
to lo-fi hip-hop music. I don't know, like I feel
Yeah.
like I find that a lot when and they a lot of those people I found use brick building as just like a tag in those
Hmm.
particular games. Like I've often found Minecraft players
Yeah. I could see that
using
as
that.
brick building, kind of like,
Hmm.
I mean, you're kind of building bricks in Minecraft.
Yeah. They're virtual
Yeah.
bricks,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I definitely dig all the cozy game streamers.
Yeah,
I feel like my streams are always very chilled.
yeah,
It doesn't get too crazy in there.
right.
And usually when I do stream a game, it's probably like Animal Crossing
Oh yeah, definitely.
or,
Speaking of cozy games, right?
stuff
That
like
is,
that.
yeah, it's funny that I skip over it, but that's so true. That is like one of the coziest games you could play is
Yeah.
is Animal Crossing. Yeah, no, I see this overlap between those games and Lego for some reason. I find that interesting. For those that don't keep up with Twitch in general, there's kind of been this whole thing lately with the sub split, right? People getting less money. There's also the whole ad incentive thing, which is resulting in a lot of people running more ads on their channel. How are you feeling about just like kind of the state of Twitch at the moment as someone who's been here for a little while?
I kind of feel like at least the amount of time I've been like even outside of being a streamer on Twitch, there's always these big changes that come and there's always this uproar and things keep moving though. People adjust, people adapt, and maybe people will, go to some other platform. Maybe they'll go to YouTube or something. But you're
Right.
gonna have the same stuff over there probably. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know anything about YouTube. I don't know. I guess me as a small streamer, I don't feel much of an impact from it because I mean, I don't look at Twitch as making money. I don't really make any money from Twitch to be to be honest.
Right.
But like that's not how I view it. Like I just do it for fun. I like
Hmm.
the social interaction. I like it because I'm gonna build Lego anyway, probably. Touching on scheduling, it's helped me keep a schedule, even outside of streaming. It's helped me just, hey, you do better in your life with a schedule, so maybe do that.
I hear that so
Um,
much. I
yeah.
sympathize completely.
But yeah, and then honestly, with the ad thing, I don't know that much about it. I hope I have
Hmm.
mine set up okay. Like I don't care about ads. I
Right.
try to have minimum amount. I try to have it to where when you first come in, you don't see an ad from me.
Hmm.
I hope I have that set up correctly. But yeah, other than that, I don't have much to say on the topic. I know it's been a big
Yeah, it's a hot topic.
subject matter right now.
Yeah.
So,
I thought I'd ask. And it runs the spectrum of a lot of people have opinions, a lot
mhm,
of people don't. And so I was kind of curious as to where you fell on it. And I
yeah.
totally, yeah, and I think your answer is actually really insightful because I think for a lot of folks, maybe they don't, maybe they just go straight to the outrage. Who knows? Some people are looking for reasons to be upset about what Twitch is doing, but I think you made a very good point in that you're like, well, doesn't really directly impact my ability to stream, and so for that, I 100% agree with you, and I commend you for that stance of like, it is what it is. People just need the right.
Well, I mean, that's not to say maybe it is affecting some people, but
Sure, it is.
to my knowledge, like, with partners I might be wrong. Aren't most of them, like, 50-50 split anyway with
Yeah,
partners?
Yeah.
Like,
Actually, it affects the change that they announced, right? Leaving the 70-30 split that they did
mm,
have with some partners, and going to 50-50 for everyone. That change only affects a very small percentage of people. It's like we're
mhm,
talking the top less than a percent of streamers. And so
yeah,
on a more global scale, I can see why people would be mad in that perhaps it's an aspirational thing that maybe they were hoping one day to get to that point.
mhm,
Or if you like compare it to a platform like say YouTube, YouTube doesn't take half the revenue. They take only like 30% of your revenue.
yeah,
I can see why there's some outrage, especially the folks who do try to make a living out of Twitch, which
mhm,
that's a lot of people, right? A lot of full-time streamers. That being said, like it's hard to say. Like it's hard to say what's right. Obviously, it would be nice for creators to be paid more, but
oh, yeah,
Twitch is clearly admitting in this change that they just can't even afford to do that for the top less than
yeah,
1% of their streamers.
yeah.
Like how
Because
would yeah.
to my knowledge, like I said, I don't know much about, the benefits of being a partner.
Mhm.
Most of the partners that I've come across were already making 50-50,
Yep.
and even, like, if you're wanting to do streaming as a full-time thing, I don't think it's just streaming that you have to be doing.
100%.
You
Yeah.
have to be doing, maybe you're making YouTube videos to go over there, and you have to have other partnerships and affiliates, like with companies. That's where most of your money is probably coming, to be
Right.
honest. I don't think it's a good thing that people aren't getting money, of course, like, content creators. I'm not saying that at all, but I don't think it's solely coming from Twitch, their income. That there's no way.
Exactly.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
Some people think that, I don't know, but
And
all this person's money is coming from Twitch, and that's not the
yeah.
case at all. That's
Yeah.
probably their bottom income.
I think and you know what? I love that you brought that point up because that is 100% true. If you are a full-time streamer, ideally your income is not at all completely built on the back of your subs and bits. It's really like you kind of hit a point where ideally you're getting sponsorships or you're getting deals with games or brands or companies that are paying you regularly to be an influencer for them, right? Or even any kind of company really. I mean, you got not just game companies, you got various computer and tech companies and
Mhm.
everyone trying to use influencers or streamers
Yeah.
for that sort of. So yeah, I mean, you're absolutely correct that it wouldn't be 100% Twitch, and people who think that that's the goal need to reassess.
Yeah.
Reassess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some people think that, though, I don't know.
yeah. It's crazy too, right? If you think about it, right? Like you think about whatever amount of money that you as a person need to live month to month, right?
Mhm.
And then you think about how many subscribers and or bits that would be. It's huge.
A
Like
lot.
it's ridiculous. Like for me, like to even replace my full-time job with streaming would require a heinous amount of subs. if I
Yeah, I
if
I
I were to
even
do that.
yeah, I even think if it was a bigger, like, even those people with the 70-30 split, that's still a lot. Like, a lot that you need from it, and they have to be doing things elsewhere
Yeah.
for their income.
Yeah. Brand deals, Patreons, things like
Yeah,
that, etc.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. No, I appreciate your thoughts on that. It's definitely very very wise. We've talked about the Lego community, a bit about the VTubing community. I sometimes pose this question out of pure curiosity, but if you could, out of anyone on Twitch or YouTube or the internet, who would you want to collaborate with if that's something that you desire? Do you have kind of someone you're like, I would love to do content with this person?
I mean, if I wanna look at most of the VTubers that, I really look up to, don't I guess they don't do the content I do.
Right.
But it would be cool to, like, introduce them to doing that, like, "Hey, come on my stream and we'll do this." If I wanted to pick a VTuber, like, that would never happen. I know. It's like Iron Mouse. She's just so she's just such a wholesome person, and she's so funny, and I don't know, she's entertaining when she's not even trying to be entertaining, you know?
I
But I guess
mean,
that's who I would select,
yeah,
and I would try to get her to, I guess, build Lego with me.
yeah. Do you have a set in mind to build something with someone else? If like today we were able to
Mhm.
just get them to collaborate with you, would you be like, let's build this thing? Do you have something in mind?
What would I wanna build? I'm trying to think of sets that are big to where you can, like, split them up into 2,
Yeah,
like, really like, the Nintendo set would be fun, maybe? I have that set,
yeah,
so building it with Iron Mouse would be amazing.
it's a good set.
Yeah.
You built the NES. Is there, looking back at the last year plus amount of Lego and streaming, is there like, do you have kind of a top three sets of
Well, I
Medusas?
actually haven't built that one yet.
Oh,
It's in a
okay.
backlog.
Perfect. Okay. So top three sets
Um,
you've built.
Top 3, okay. Number 1 is Monkey Kid City of Lanterns,
I like
and
that.
that was like a one-off set I got because I was like, "This is just so cute and fun," and it was.
Yeah.
I know nothing about Monkey Kid or any of, that, but I'm like, "This is nice." And it's not my favorite display set, but it was probably my funnest build overall. The next 2 is probably, Hogsmeade with
hmm
Honeydukes and the flying broomsticks, and Chamber of Secrets. It had a
Mm.
lot of secrets in it.
It lives up to the name. It's got
Yeah.
a lot of
I like to
secrets.
call it, the chamber pot of secrets, and if you know, you know, I guess.
Yeah. That's really cool. Those, you got good taste. I really like, your choices. Definitely. Monkey Kid is a really cool theme in general, and I think it's
Mhm.
highly underrated,
I've
honestly.
After getting that set, I've looked into other Monkey Kid sets I might want. There are a few. I found most of them are, like, mech builds,
Yeah, they're totally about that.
which I'm not that big into. I think I like the ramen one, like, with Pigsley, like, I would get that one,
Yes. Yeah.
and then the Heavenly Temple or something. Do you know what I'm talking about? Heavenly something.
I
It's got, like,
don't
the
know.
clouds.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
can't
I
remember its
want
name.
Yeah, I want that one, and the last time I was in a Lego store, I wanted to, browse the Monkey Kid sets, and they only had 1 set, and I was like, "Where's all the Monkey Kid?"
Mhm.
And I guess they're phasing them out in the stores
Oh, that's a
now.
shame.
Yeah, they're like, "They're solely gonna be online." So, I'm like, "No." Which
Yeah.
most of the Lego I have to get is online anyway, but it would've been nice to, like, go into the store and be like, "I want this." So, I don't get to go to, like, the closest Lego store, like, official Lego store for me, all of them are 3 to 4 hours away.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I sympathize because I think the closest one, well, there's a couple, but the closest one for me is they're all around 2 hours from me. The ones that I
That's not
could
too
go to.
bad.
Yeah, it's not horrible, but definitely like I can't do. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go to the Lego store tomorrow and grab this thing," and I'm like,
Yeah.
I kind of
Like,
have
I
to
wish I
plan
could
for
do
that.
that.
Yeah, I wish I
Yeah.
could do that, right? Because like to get there and back, that's almost a 4 hour drive, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I've yet to have one like a moment where I'm like, do I really want to drive that far and back to get this set, or do am I willing to wait like a week and have it
Yeah.
shipped to me, or a couple days if I can get it on Amazon? It's like I'm not gonna drive that far, but I would love to have something local to me, a local brick shop, if you will.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I do have one shop, which now I'm where I recently moved. I'm like an hour from it now, but before I was like 15 minutes from it. It's just a local brick shop. He also sold like D&D stuff and like Magic,
Yeah.
Pokemon, but most of it was Lego, and he always had a really good stock, even like retired sets, and he didn't like upcharge it an arm and a leg for you to get.
That's really
which is
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's a cool guy.
Yeah, it's always tough. There's a couple of like specialty toy stores and hobby places like local to me that I can sometimes find something
Mhm.
that's hard to get. There are days where I'm like, that's nice, but like if there's a brand new Lego set that I know is coming out, I pretty much have to count on ordering it from Lego
Yeah.
directly, which is
Mhm.
never fun to wait, especially when it's a big set that you know everyone's gonna want. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Going back
yeah.
to, getting Lego more known on Twitch, I do wanna mention being a part of some groups, like the Ladies Raid Train,
Oh yes.
where we kinda have a variety of ladies with Lego arts and craft. I think that's kinda helped bring more people over to Lego and then discover, like, these arts and craft streamers as well. Same with a lot of work that Andy's done, Andy's Lego.
Hmm.
He's done a lot of he's tried to bring variety into the Lego community with the People's Train. If you're part of the People's Train, you can kinda stream whatever you want, which I guess can be a positive or a negative, I don't know. Some people find Lego that way, with through the, other content creators like, "Oh, well, this person only plays games usually, but we just rated into a Lego streamer, and I didn't know that was a thing." So, I
Yeah.
will say that's happening too.
Thank you for pointing that out because that's a very useful thing. It's very helpful because, and like you said, it kind of depends on what you're looking for. But what is
Mhm.
nice is that it does help. Like you said, it helps grow the viewership of people who like to build Lego. You know,
Yeah.
the whole brick building community. When you start mixing up who's on these raid trains, it makes it easier to find people who don't normally see that or watch that sort of thing. Yeah, the had it with the rate trains. Actually, you're talking about keeping people who are wanting to get involved with it and do different things that aren't just Lego. Like how hard I guess is it to get into one of those trains for those who are because I've heard people ask like how do I get involved with this, and I'm not in one myself, so I always wonder. I mean, I imagine pointing them to the organizers, but I guess
Yeah.
what is the best way someone could get involved with those particular trains?
Well, I say with the People's Train, I mean, feel free to reach out to me and I can, get in touch with somebody.
Hmm.
If you know Whippy Whipster, he's kind of, guiding, like, kind of mentoring, I guess you could say, like, he's kind of the big person helping put everything together if needed, and with the ladies' raid train, again, you can reach out to me. There's, Angel with No Halo, Phoenix, Brixel Stitch, Legendary Diamond, if you know Legendary. Yeah, if you're interested, I wouldn't say it's necessarily as long as you are committed to work with us and, put in effort as far as being committed to a time you can be on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that difficult to do. Yeah,
So
feel free to
reach
reach out
out.
to me, and I can get in touch with the right people.
I've noticed sometimes it feels like there's a lot of trains going on, like between
Yeah, there
the
really
different
is.
the different ones that are out there. I think I remember at one point there was one at least 3 or 4 days out of a week. I've found at one point. I don't know if that's I don't think that's the case as of recently, but I think when all of them were going at one point, it felt like there was a lot, and I was having a
Too
hard time.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like I think it's great from a standpoint of a viewer in general, but as someone
Yeah.
who I'm like, well, I can maybe watch some of this one train.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Obviously, we don't expect everyone to, like,
be there for
you're
everything.
gonna
Yeah, yeah,
watch
yeah.
every one of it. No.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, no.
No,
Not
I guess
expected.
I guess the main goal is so, as a content creator, you have your own viewership and maybe they're tuning into your stream for that time period, and then you go into somebody else and
Yeah.
they might give that person a follow, check out their streams or something, and then it kinda repeats itself. That person has a viewership of their own, and then
How has the raid train helped with your community?
Well, I guess with the ladies raid train, we do stick to mostly just arts and crafts and Lego, and it's a ladies raid train, of
Right.
course.
Yep. As the name
But
implies.
you know, I'm not as far as benefiting my channel, I'm not 100% sure, but as far as me meeting other people and like
Hmm.
getting to know other people going to their channels, I think has been nice. And just communicating with other ladies that have, similar interests as me has been nice. And then on the people's train, it has more variety. There's people playing games, there's people sewing, there's people building Lego. I mean, a lot of people build Lego over there, but I guess it's just meeting new people, really. Hopefully they'll stick around.
It introduces folks, to different communities, different streamers,
Mhm.
or other viewers as well. I encourage folks who are interested in getting involved with that to reach out to Medusa about it. It's always a good thing to look into.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you wanna meet new people, social interaction. For me, it's just another interest in to keep me interacted with people because, like I said, I'm not very good at that. As as far as being shy and, like, opening up to people, it just kinda helps me interact with people a bit better.
Yeah, I could see why, because it puts you in that situation where you're reliably being exposed to different communities. And
Mhm.
so, not unlike how just having a regular schedule itself holds you accountable, but this kind of takes that to a whole nother level, because you're expecting you're expecting people to bring people over to your stream, and then you will turn around and do the same at the end of yours. So you kind of
Yeah.
generally act as this link in a chain where you will see some people come in from other streams that may not ordinarily be there, to then bringing those people to someone else that they may not be familiar with either.
Yeah.
So I think the concept's really cool. It's very interesting. What is in the near future for your channel and community? Is there anything coming up or things that you'd like to do?
There are a few things coming up, nothing set as far as dates except one.
Hmm.
Last month, I think it was, like, towards the end of September, I had my stream anniversary. We had some goals for me to do certain streams, and we hit a lot of those, so I'm planning, a cooking stream, which I have set up for November 5th at 3 p.m. Eastern, so that'll be
Nice.
interesting. I have a baking stream, and a karaoke stream I have to do as well. So that's, everyone keeps asking about karaoke, though.
I can't wait to see how all of these
Oh
turn out.
gosh.
Honestly, those are going to be all interesting for different reasons. I think particularly the karaoke. So
Yeah,
I will be
for some
keeping
reason,
an eye
people want
out.
me to sing.
I can't wait. I will be looking out for that specific stream. Yeah, that those all sound amazing. So I can't wait for that.
It should be interesting.
Yeah.
And and mostly, I think I play like, I've mentioned the VTuber, Gouda, she does a lot of karaoke streams, and I do play a lot of her karaoke, like, music on my stream, and a lot of
Mhm.
people enjoy that. And for some reason, they think I'm gonna sound like her, which is not which is not gonna be the case.
I'm looking forward to that one as well. I'm glad that all these things are coming. I can't wait. So you heard it here, folks. All
Yeah,
kinds of wonderful things coming.
you'll hear a date when I know the date.
Excellent. Where can people find you in addition to twitch.tv slash
I am
Medusa
on Twitter.
Asudem? You're on Twitter.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
I'm on Twitter. It's MedusaAsudem TTV,
Okay.
so Twitch TV, and that's just Medusa and then Medusa backwards for those of you that haven't realized that, because I
Yeah,
get that a lot when
you
people be
do?
like, they're like, "I just realized your name is Medusa backwards." I'm like,
Really?
"Yeah, yeah, I get that a lot." I do have Instagram. I try to post my Lego photos there. That's strictly all I post on there. It's asudem.medusa. I'm more active on Twitter though.
And of course, twitch.tv/Medusa
Yeah, of course
Asudem
on Twitch.
is
Yep.
is the place to be. Is excellent to actually get some time to talk to you about what you do and who you are, and being able to just take the time. So thank you for taking the time to hang out with me
Of course.
and to get to know you and the things that you do. Thank you, Medusa. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you for having me. It's been great, and I'm excited that I was the first VTuber you had
Yeah,
on here.
yeah, you are the first VTuber on Crossing the Streams,
That's
and
awesome.
it is. It's amazing, and I would encourage anyone who really, who folks who do not follow you already, if they enjoyed this conversation or hearing about the things that you do, whether it be learning different languages, building Lego, or just hanging out and getting to know who you are, to follow Medusa, check her out, as is customary for this show. I always love to leave it on the final words of the guests and close it out with you and not me. So
Oh boy, I get to close.
yeah,
I
you
get
yeah, and usually whatever final thoughts you have or final words that you'd like to share to those that are listening.
I will say that I appreciate everyone in this community, not just just everybody that comes to my streams. I really appreciate you. It's always fun hanging out, always chill. And I encourage you all to do what you want to do. Do you want to learn a language? Maybe you should. Don't be afraid to try something new because maybe it'll take a few times to figure out what you want to do because that's definitely happened in my case, but you'll figure it out. Just don't give up.